We'll call the meeting of the Marshall County Fiscal Court to order on this day, March 17, 2015. Welcome all of you. It is a little crowded. Hopefully next month we may be up in the big newly renovated courtroom. We have a pretty full agenda. We'll try to move it along as quick as we can. The first person coming before us is Randy Newcomb, our tourism director.
Good. Well, I guess I could scoot come up. I want everybody to see me. Good morning. The reason I'm here is the Chief Executive Officer of the county, which is the Judge Executive, gets 2 picks on the tourism board. Well, those picks are up, and they're for 3-year terms. And so, with KRS 91A360, we need to either reappoint the existing picks or select new ones. And since you are the officer, you get 2 picks. Currently, Kathy Fennell, president of FLW Outdoors, and Mark Wood, owner of Moore Resort and Marina, are the 2 judge executive picks.
Okay. I've talked to Randy, and he finds that these people are very important on his board. And even though it is my pick, I would like to entertain a motion for the court to approve these 2.
Make that motion, Judge.
Motion?
Second.
Is there a second? There is a second. Motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randy. Our next guest this morning is Michael Oliver from the Transportation,
Yes.
Reedland.
Actually, my office is in Murray, but my
Okay.
bosses are in Reedland, so that's fine.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, that's important. Know where the bosses are at. Thank you, Judge and court. As I do every year, I've come again this year to give you the rural secondary road recommendations for Marshall County. The tentative allocation that we have this year is $1,498,136. There was a free balance left in the account of $22,286. So we're going to also absorb that and spend that as well. So the priorities that we have, the first priority is the maintenance of our existing 130 miles of state rural secondary roads in Marshall County. At an average of $3,500 per mile, that's about $455,014. Minus the county judge expenses, leaves a total of improvements for just over $1 million, $1,061,546. Just as we have in the last couple of years, the first priority that we have are the flex funds that we give to the county. Marshall County is in the 15% bracket. So 15% of the 1.4 million is $224,720. So at some point, I guess y'all will be sending me a list of what y'all deem roads that need to be paved, county roads, and then we'll get those sent up to Frankfurt and get you your money on that. So as far as state rural secondary improvements, the top priority we think is Kentucky 962. Which is Old Olive Road, from the 2.9 mile marker, which is Olive Hamlet, extending all the way to US 68, which is a total of 3.9 miles. The priority number 5 is Patterson Ferry Road, which is Kentucky 1413, from US 68 to US 62, a total of 2.4 miles at a cost of $207,000. Kentucky 1836, which is Virgil Lyles Road, from the Callaway Marshall County line to 402, which is a total of 1.6 miles at a cost of around $142,000. And then the last improvement would be Kentucky 2606, which is Jackson School Road, from Kentucky 58 to Kentucky 408, which is 1.7 miles at a cost of about $149,000. That's a total of 9.8 miles of resurfacing for the just over $1 million for improvements. On the back, I've included a map of where these roads are located. There's also other projects that are other pots of money that I always like to show the court where we're also going to be doing some work this year. You'll see up there at 1523, we have a pretty long stretch there that has 3 or 4 pretty bad railroad tracks. We're going to mill out, fix all those. Hopefully we can get the railroad company out there and we'll get those smooth hopefully this summer. I-24, there's a section from about the 23 mile marker to the 26. We're gonna do both eastbound and westbound, just basically mill and fill, so that's about 2.8 million. Then you see 1413, which is Patterson Ferry, Jackson School. There's also a parkway upgrade. As part of the I-69 corridor, we have to make changes to the parkway, and they're actually having a meeting on that today, so I expect them to get started on that pretty soon. That they'll be doing some shoulder work, some median work. They'll be putting guardrail at all the piers and basically getting up to federal highway standards. That project is about $8 million. So that'll start at the basically the Grays County line and go all the way to Calvert City, 52 mile marker.
We'll start this year.
Yeah, I think it actually has to be done in November. So they will be doing all that this year.
Interchange will start pretty soon.
The interchange, I would say we'll probably have an announcement probably towards the end of the year about when that's going to start, when it's going to be funded. We did have a public meeting on it, and they had to go back to the drawing board and do some changes on that.
So it won't start this
It
year.
won't start this year. This parkway upgrade that I'm talking about here is just main line. It'll be median, shoulders, repaving, doing some cross drain work, some head walls, just basically getting it up to the width that the federal budget for us. So
On 24, is there any plans in to continue the cable barrier?
there
all
is
the way?
that would be a long-term plan.
So
Of
that's
course,
anytime soon either.
probably not. They pick about 2 miles every year to do in each district. In our district, of course, there's so much parkway up towards the McCracken County end and the Tree County end that they run an analysis on it, and where most of our crossover crashes at is where it gets the money. So Marshall County section right now is in pretty good shape, but I would say within the next 2 to 3 years, we'll have it all the way up and down the interstate. So there is a section of US 641 that you'll see there. It's what we call Cinco Hill, starting at the spur, and it'll go all the way to the park down there where it starts to split off into 2 lanes. There's 1836, then of course, bottom right, you see that little project there, the Kentucky Lake Bridge. We're still working on that feverishly for the November 15th open to traffic date. Going up the page, you see 962, and then also the Kentucky 348 interchange. That will be starting here in about 2 weeks. We're actually going to start that project. So there will be a lot of clearing and stuff going on out there. It's about $8.1 million is the price tag on that at present. So it's going to be a busy summer in Marshall. There's always other little smaller bridges, culverts and stuff that might come up, but for the most part, this is where all the work's going to be this year. So. Any questions? Any more?
Has the issue with the parkway from I-24 to 62 been resolved, keeping it open, or do you know?
Yes, I believe it has. I don't think an announcement's been made yet,
Okay,
but I think that's been taken care of.
I think it's gonna stay open then, okay.
There'll be, I think that was part of the public meeting that we had. The alternatives that they had, I think both of them showed cutting that leg off. And we went back to the drawing board and talked to the feds, and I think we've come up with a solution to where we can leave that open.
So their response is going to be a positive one.
Their response is.
I know I was at that meeting, about 400 people, and
Yeah,
there was nobody in favor of shutting that, and
Right.
myself included, which would literally split this county in half. People and there's 3,000 people come to work there at that chemical complex, and a lot of those people travel that intersection.
right. What we were told was the consultants that did the design work, they said that basically the way the federal guidelines were, that they had to cut that off. But we went back and talked to the feds, and let them know, you know, what kind of problem we were having, and that it was really, we thought, very important to leave that open.
The
And
emergency response times was a big factor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
That would have cut that way back.
And so, like I said, the design firm went back to the drawing board, and I think they've got something that the feds can live with and that we can live with, keeping that open. So I would say there'll be an announcement here in the next several months.
But that's from the federal government?
Yes,
Obviously,
since-
that's their decision.
Right,
ultimately.
since it will be I-69, since it will be a
Right.
federal highway,
Right.
we did the design, or our consultants did the design, but ultimately it has to be approved by the feds.
Right.
Right.
But what we did is we actually went to them first and said, what can you live with? And they give us some things that we could implement, and our designers, they went back and implemented those, and I think you'll see that it'll be a positive,
Good.
positive for the county. Any other questions?
If there aren't any more questions, I would entertain a motion that we accept these recommendations.
Make that
from
motion,
Mr.
Judge.
Oliver. Motion made, motion second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Oliver,
thank you.
for coming and being with us today. Oops, I don't know what I did with this stuff. You got it.
That's one thing.
Mr. Ford, Roger Ford, our jailer, has come before us today.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Gentlemen. I'm here for the court today with the assistance and the coaching of our great treasurer, Emily. I'm submitting my 2015-2016 budget for our upcoming fiscal year. And two gentlemen that's new on the court system and our judge, we actually reduced the cost to you guys this year by about $242,000. With that being said, we actually had a much better year this year than expected. Of course, with that being said, I don't know how good a year it is when you have inmates in jail, but at least we was getting state inmates that was unexpected. Kind of late last year, maybe the second quarter, population of state inmates went way up. They're back down a little bit now, considering where they was at. But on the other hand, though, they are up a little bit of what we actually budgeted for last year. So actually this year has actually turned out to be a little bit better year than expected as far as cost to you people or something, taxpayers.
Does anybody have any questions about the budget? Do I require a motion on this, Jeff? Okay.
Just accept, and a motion to accept.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept this budget.
Motion to accept the budget, Judge.
Motion made, motion second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, I have one other little issue here. While I talked to the county attorney yesterday. Annually, I have to get my policy procedure book approved also, and I actually had a little change in it, like late last fall. It was over a transportation training issue, and so we actually got this thing. I got that put in my policy procedure late last year and approved. So other than that, there's been no changes in my policy procedure book. So at this time, I'd also like to get it approved if I may.
I haven't. You seen it? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well-
I'd like to see it before I approve it.
I understand. I mean, I will tell you, actually, Jeff is, that's the way it's been in the past, but I'll be glad, yeah, that won't be on.
Maybe we should just have them delivered a copy of that. Me too,
Sure,
since I'm
sure.
new. We can look it over and approve it at the next
That'd
meeting.
be great. That'd be
Okay.
great. I'll,
Yeah, there's nothing, like you said, the only change we've had in it recently is that transportation issue, and that was approved by the court last fall.
yeah.
So,
Other than that, there's been no changes, but yeah, that's not a problem.
But to Cheryl and Johnny and I, it's all changes.
I got you,
Nothing
yes,
that one.
I
That's-
got you. Yeah, there's
Okay,
no-
if you don't mind, come back to the next, April 7th meeting.
Okay, I'll get you.
We'll do that, okay.
Thank you.
Got a bunch of rookies on here now.
Where can we get a copy of that? Somebody get us a copy of that?
If you'd like, I'll just bring it up to
If you'll bring it up here, I'll put them in their boxes and
That'd be fine.
thank you. Thank you, Roger. All right, our next guest is Richard Stallons. Okay. And he's with the Kentucky Changers, and he's come to address the court this morning.
Thank you, Judge. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm a little bit nervous. It's the first time I've been in one of your meetings. I don't know exactly how to go about it, so to be frank with you, I'm representing Kentucky Changers and the homeowners of Marshall County and the youth. And I'm representing Kentucky Changers, which is from the KBC in Louisville, under the WMU department. What Kentucky Changers is, I hope everyone in here knows what they already are and what their purpose is. They will be coming here in June of this year, the week of the 20th through the 26th. What they will do is work on homes. I've got so far got 45 applications for homes to be worked on. This will be exterior work. We do not allow the youth to go inside the home to do any work, only adults will do that. Of course, this does take money, and that's my main purpose here today, is to try to get some money. And we want to get it, the church is going to fund, we've got private offers coming in, this and that. Of these 45 homes that I've got applications, all of them may not be limited, because we plan on doing 20-25 jobs, because you'll have about that many 15 to 20 crews, which usually is a crew of 10 to 15 to make this crew up and each project. And they looking at now the price of material stuff going up to around $2,000 per home.
Okay.
However, a lot of these I've got a roof job, which will probably get close to that amount. And we've got several that's got just a ramp and a little small deck, which won't take near that much. So we're figuring in work from at least $40,000 to $60,000 to do this summer. Now I know we can't get all that money from Marshall County, but we're after the cities and we're after the churches, and anywhere we can find some money, we're going to look for it. And they've talked to you, Mr. Johnny. They said that you're the man to get up to get some money campaigns going. You knew all about that.
I can do my best.
There you go. And but that is the reason I'm here today, and I put this petition before you to help us out in each way you can. And also, we will be needing some dumpster boxes. Who do I need to? Girl, I need.
We'll have that gentleman, well, he can help us. John Keith can get a hold of Troy. Troy's the one that does the dumpster boxes, right? He can't hear. But I think that's right, isn't it? The refuse, the landfill will be contacting on those.
That's where I stand at on this.
Okay, all right. How many are coming in to work on this?
They'll be anywhere from 200 to 300. I don't know the
Two
exact number yet.
to 300. And where are you going to be housing them?
Housed at the high school.
Housed at the high school.
That- You all were here, how many years ago?
It was like
About
a-
6 or 7 years or
2000, I believe,
something?
About 14 years ago.
Okay, well, longer than that.
Okay. I thought it was longer than that, but did we ever figure that out when they were here before?
No,
No, we didn't. We tried
I
to
think
find
it was a different procedure when we were here before, so
Yeah.
it was hard to track when it was.
Okay.
We're in budget time now, so
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
certainly discuss this in budget workshops. And,
Oh,
This money is to pay for materials, the labor force is free. The kids are actually paying to come work, so.
Do you have a number in mind, or?
How much to ask for?
Yes, sir.
No, that's up to y'all.
Okay.
Leave that up to y'all.
should I tell them what we've got here? This one?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what we have available right now for the rest of the year. And remember, this does go to the rest of the year. We still have, what, a little over 3 months? And the amount we have allocated and available for the rest of the year is $4,000. Obviously, we can't put that all in one nest. We've got to make sure we've got something in case we have any other requests come in, fair and needful requests. Honestly, I would like to entertain a motion that we give them something, and that's going to ask you all to think what you think we can afford to give. our money is tight right now, and we're looking at a budget coming up that's gonna be really tight too. So,
I know that back in December, who's the pastor that's in charge of the program?
Jason Sharp.
Tim, he came before the Calvert City Council, and they voted to give him $1,000, and it is a good program, and in that situation, those monies stayed in that community, of course.
stayed right in Calvert City?
Yes.
Okay,
and,
well, of course, with the
well,
county
you
would
can't-
be,
You can't spend Calvert City taxpayers' dollars outside of Calvert City legally, but it, you know, they gave him $1,000, and I don't know about the city of Benton. I talked to Rita, and she's the one that told me about it.
have you talked to the city
Jeff
yet?
Wallace will talk to her sometime this week.
Okay. Well, I think it's a good program myself. You know, anytime we've got somebody coming in here and volunteering, giving of their time and help, hopefully we could give a little bit from ourselves. So I would like to entertain a motion then, if Calvert City has done 1,000.
That's-
Are you comfortable with 1,000, Emily? Because she's the one that mainly has to keep a watch on this.
Yeah, the kids actually, you know, they pay to come here and work in the summer. It's obviously a good program for the handicapped and
Our
elderly. and-
church
Yeah, they
supports.
pay $200 a piece.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I think it's sponsored by the Kentucky Baptist Association, right? Or is it sponsored by the Baptist Association, but it's a non-denominational,
Yeah,
they don't,
yeah, you can be
okay.
whatever.
That's right,
We're
okay,
not-
that's what I was trying to say.
We work on
Work on
anyone's
anyone,
home.
yes,
And
yes. Mm-hmm.
children, youth, they don't have to be disadvantaged.
Okay, all right. So therefore, I would like to entertain a motion that we give them $1,000 toward this and that we furnish the boxes, dumpster boxes for them. Are these building materials we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
Does that make a
be
difference?
disposal at LWD,
Yeah. Okay.
or possibly, we might be able to dispose of it.
Everybody's looking at you, I wonder
Well,
what.
my husband's company has a demolition
Oh,
debris
okay.
landfill, so.
We might be able to get
That's
some
right.
to take it, but
Yeah.
it won't be a massive cost either way.
Okay,
About $20 a ton if we take it
Yeah.
out, or take it to.
okay. So should I include that in there?
Well, I would,
in the
yeah, we can
motion.
take care, I would think we'd take care of that disposal.
LWD they may donate a
And they
dumpster
might,
for this.
yeah, and we might be able to get some from
It
there.
won't
like-
be LWD.
Yeah, well, it's,
Waste path?
yeah, waste pass.
Waste
You'll
path.
get in trouble if you wait for LWD.
So, okay.
I'll talk to John anyway.
Yeah.
I know who to talk to.
Okay, so I've started this, that we make this motion for the donation of $1,000 to go towards their cost of materials, that we provide dumpster boxes and work with Waste Path or whoever to help
Take care of
with
the
the
disposal.
construction disposal.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
There's a motion, there is a second, is there any more discussion? Okay, that being said, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank everyone.
And we hope, all good for your project. I hope you get a lot of money from some of these fundraisers. Be sure and work on that. Okay, our next guest is John Keith Miller from Recycling Department, and he has some guests from the high school that will be presenting a program. Okay?
I thank the board for allowing me to be here to speak today. I just wanted to give an update on our center, what's been going on for the last few months. First off, we'll get a budget report here. From fiscal year till now, we have received, I had an update, but let me see. $26,081 from, that's from cardboard, plastic, and metals. Had an extra page. Okay. So, if I could find that, I apologize.
We need a podium, don't we?
Anyway, we must have that down. We've also received our grant money and purchased our new baler. We have a new large horizontal baler that helps us to make larger bales, better bales.
This
We've
is
got
cardboard?
This is for cardboard. This is, and actually today, we're gonna start even trying to bale up our cans, aluminum cans, to see how well we can do sending off bales of aluminum. When we send off our aluminum, we usually have to take a hit because there's water, there's other stuff in there, and they kind of take off for that. If we can send an actual bale, we should be able to get much better price. Another thing going on, we had our trash sculpture contest that was held back in February. If I could get you to turn up.
You have to hit the lights. Everybody behind you is a screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look on the screen here. Give me a second to get it loaded up. I've got some pictures here of some of the things that the kids have made. This was held for kindergarten
Should put
through
him
high
behind me.
school children. This is some of the elementary school entries that we had. These are made out of recyclable products. This is our upper elementary class. That is a refrigerator that you see to the right there actually opens up and has stuff inside of it. It was very interesting how they were able to do that. This was our high school division. And this was for the middle school. That's what someone made a fish from a CD. Very creative. The kids are very creative in the things they can come up with. That's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. The Eiffel Tower. And of course, SpongeBob, which I thought was very, very clever. Here are elementary winners, some middle school winners, and the winners at the high school.
Tell what they received for their
Oh,
winner.
sure. That's off of our new baler. And then this is the new baler I was mentioning earlier. This is the machine that's making those large bales and making our lives out at the recycling center much easier. And I have a video of that. Okay.
You got that through some grant money?
That was through the grant money, yes. And back to the recycling trash sculpture contest, we were able to award each division. We had 4 divisions. There was a lower elementary, which was kindergarten through 3rd. I apologize, kindergarten through 2nd, and upper elementary was 3rd grade through 5th, middle school, and a high school division. We gave $50 for the first place winner, $25 for 2nd, and $10 for 3rd, and then everyone got a pencil. And I meant to bring pencils today for all of you guys, but I'll bring it next time. I forgot to bring the pencils. So. And the only other thing that we have going, getting ready to come up, we have a couple more things that are on the board for coming up. One is an Earth Day program that we're having with Vicki, help me out here. What was that day?
It's April 22nd, which is actually Earth Day. It's a Thursday.
It's
We're
an
doing
Earth-
the event at the Children's Arts Center where we've had some green infrastructure installed, and we'll be partnering with some other entities to do that. And John's gonna come out and bring, I think you're gonna collect
Household hazardous waste. We're partnering with American Environmental Services through another grant that we received last year. We have enough money that we can set up a trailer there on the site, and people can bring in things like, hazardous household waste. Anything that's mercury, anything with pesticides, anything that you just wouldn't want to usually just throw away in a dumpster. We'll be advertising that much more, get closer to the date. Another thing is, we have our grant cycle coming up again, and this time we have in mind to purchase some trailers. And if I could have you get the light one more time, come back up here, and I'll show you what we're looking at into trying to get with our grant money this time. Okay. This, sorry. Well, of course. There's my phone again. I've not messed with this enough to know what I'm doing.
Especially in the
And,
dark.
and that
Yeah.
shows you how dangerous it is to mess with this, our new baler. Do not put your hand in it, or, yeah, there goes the fingers. I don't know why that picture's on there. Okay, this is a pull-behind trailer that is a compactor. It's not a baler, but what it can do, we can take this to all of our sites where we pick up cardboard, and instead of having to use several different vehicles to pick up our cardboard, we send this one. It'll compact everything, so we have to make less trips, and it takes less time to get everything collected. This is the other thing we're looking at getting, about 10 of these. And those will be placed at each transfer station, and that will be for the collection of newsprint. The tops will be different, they'll be more like doors, that's more for cardboard, but what we're looking at is these will be roll-offs. We'll have one trailer to carry it all, and we'll have these rolled off at each of the stations, and it'll say newspaper, office paper on it. Okay.
No magazines?
We can take magazines, we put that in with the a different type of paper. We just don't get as much because of the slick paper. A lot of stuff we just have to separate it out. But we can take it and compact it as well.
Those last two grant money also.
Yes, the baler we got from our grant money, and it did take a little while to get that. We actually did our grant money in August, but the machine was on back order, so it took us about 5 to 6 months. It was January when we finally got it installed, but it has made a big difference.
But he was asking about the next two that you are looking at. You're in the next grant cycle.
The next grant cycle, yes. We're looking into 10 of those black trailers and then one of the blue compactors.
That money, I was at the
That's
last
the
board
price.
meeting, I thought I understood that money, we'd already received that, or is that what we're applying for?
This is what we're applying for. Now, the
Okay.
money we received last time is what went towards
Right,
the,
okay,
right, for the horizontal baler.
right.
So this one will be due in the end of April, 1st of April, and we should know something by August 1st. And hopefully,
But those are the monies that we usually get, I understood,
Yeah.
that to buy those 10 recycling bins and so forth.
yes, that's through the Pride Grant Fund.
Right, which was one for each of the stations, and then one
We have one
empty to
extra.
take when you go get the full one, so you won't have to make 2 trips back and forth. That's why
Exactly.
you're getting 10, and that falls into that.
And that makes, it'll make it a lot easier.
Yeah, well,
And then
Save
we
a
can
little
just,
time and gas and everything
you won't
too.
have to make, if you get 10 of them instead of 9, you'll take an empty one out to get your full one, take back instead of just going and getting your full one, taking it back, so.
and right now, we have 9 transfer stations throughout the county, and each one has a cardboard recycling bin, one for paper, and we have one for plastic. And it works rather well. One issue that we had been having is that the way we collect the newsprint are in the big green dumpsters. When it rains, they get wet, the paper gets wet, they give us, the price that we get is nowhere near as good as it could be if it was all dry. So that's one thing we're looking for using these trailers, is that they have spring hinge doors, it'll always close back. They're plastic, not like the one that we have now, if everybody's ever seen the big green machine, we call it, it sits over there off Main Street. It's got really heavy metal doors, and kind of hard to lift open. We try to leave it open all the time. This one, you can easily open it, and it'll close back for you.
Before we submit that grant, we'll bring it back to the court.
Yes. Wendy is our grant, helps with our grant, write our grant. She's gonna help us again this time. Thank you, Wendy.
We have to take it to, we'll bring it here and then we'll take it to the 109 board, so.
Okay.
before it's finished.
And the only other thing that I have here, I received a letter from the high school from some ladies that are in the childhood development program, and they've been working with some preschoolers and teaching them the importance of recycling. And they're going to be giving a presentation today. So if I can, I want to introduce Miss Shana Roberts and Mackenzie Kemp. And I'm gonna get that, they've got a board out here, I'm gonna bring it.
Welcome, Shana and Mackenzie. Glad to have you with us today. Always love seeing people interested in recycling.
Looks like it's Batman and Robin, Judge.
I believe we have some superheroes
You
here.
mispronounce their name.
Now, this is a big bulky, I'm smacking people around with it.
I wish we had a larger place to present that.
Bring it over here and cover up Jeff.
No.
I don't care if you say it right in front of me. Let people see
Well, are
it.
you sure?
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna bring it on around then.
bring it out here and then we can get it on camera also.
And they are with,
Who's going to help me unless I go around that way?
that's right.
Here, you can go this way,
We're
Cheryl.
okay.
You're with the
SCCLA.
FCCLA, okay.
We want the camera and the people to see it more than anything else.
Okay, so, hello, I'm Batwoman and this is my sidekick Robin, and we're the dynamic duo. We're Child Care Service 1 intern students at Marshall County High School. We're just a few of the superheroes that help the 15 preschoolers at Marshall County High School realize the importance of recycling and how to protect their world. As school began this past August, our fellow class and FCCLA members wanted to gear a thematic unit toward community involvement with our preschoolers. We had some ideas about recycling and young children we had found on Pinterest. We were also introduced to the way children develop socially, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. We began learning to put together lesson plans and develop activities for preschoolers. We were very excited to coordinate a lesson plan and unit with recycling and reusing. We just weren't really sure how to pull things off. Basic skill inclusion, developmental appropriateness, and curricular agreement were all identified as concerns.
Our goal was to help 3 and 4-year-olds begin connecting their own superhero power to protecting the world and becoming responsible for themselves. Our plan was to develop a thematic unit of study to highlight a different aspect of recycling and protecting the environment, along with an individual letter for each week of the fall semester. It included math, science, art, music, snack, and story time to be taught by the Child Care Service and intern students. It was to include different class guests and field trips to further extend the message of recycling and reusing. We developed a questionnaire for preschool and high school families, and from that data, developed a chart showing the outcomes. Our results showed that most families had used a refuse center over garbage pickup and that few actually separated their trash.
The preschoolers loved Little Piggies Week and the letter L during the week of October 14th through the 16th. The books of Pigsty and the Pig's Tale were about keeping your rooms clean and taking a bath. On October 16th, they got to bring in items from rooms and bathrooms such as shampoo bottles, empty soap boxes, and empty toilet paper holders. The series Our World was used during the week of October 20th through the 23rd. This week, the preschoolers got to learn about various places in nature, such as oceans, deserts, and forests. They also brought in newspapers, paper, and cardboard to recycle on Thursday, October 20th, 2014.
The Coping With series was used during the week of November 10th and the 12th, 2014. Each day, the preschoolers were introduced to glass, metal, paper, and food waste. They got to help with the Great Trash Bash on November 12th. They brought to school plastic milk jugs, water bottles, and glass containers. Helping the environment, in the letter E, during the week of November 18th to the 20th, 2014, introduced litter, water, and energy conservation and reusing. The preschoolers were introduced to the Earth and other planets while enjoying snacks that began with E, such as Eggo. They brought in an old outfit for Cycle Project on November 20th, 2014. The outfits were used to make mini scarecrows on Tuesday, November 25th, 2014. The scarecrows were displayed in the Family and Consumer Sciences wing and in the school's office. Garbage trucks and the mighty machines, along with the letter M, allowed the preschoolers to learn about garbage trucks and big equipment. On Thursday, December 4th, 2014, the preschoolers brought in old Christmas cards, decorations, and ornaments, basically everything Mom and Grandma didn't want anymore. The high school students also developed ideas for math and science with reused items. Christmas Tree Run and the letter C also included the books, The Dumpster Life, We Are Very Good Recyclers, and Just a Dream. We also took up milk jugs and recycled them into our own igloo, which the kids loved. It showed that something as simple as milk jugs could have so many recyclable possibilities.
The book The Lorax by Dr. Seuss was part of the follow-up for the fall semester. Interestingly, the book was published long before recycling and replanting were in style, but the book's central focus was and is very timely. We also contacted the West Kentucky Tree Nursery and Kentucky Dam about receiving seedlings to pass out at graduation for our preschoolers. We also wrote a letter to the Fiscal Court about just different ways we could help our community get more recyclable possibilities. Oh yeah. Our fall unit not only helped our preschoolers or superheroes realize that they're responsible for the world, it also helped us realize how much we can help and participate in our community. We got to see firsthand what goes into planning a curriculum and how to make sure everything goes smoothly. We introduced both the preschoolers and their families to the fun and power of recycling. We'd like to thank you for letting us share our program and project with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your presentation. It looks like and sounds like you did a lot of work on that.
Yeah,
Very good.
We're going to state 29.
Great. All right. Is there a competition?
Yeah.
Great. Good luck to you.
We need to put this somewhere where they'll be coming back to pick it up.
Yeah.
Thank you again. And I want to impress on everybody here, recycling has to start in the lower age groups for us to really get into it the way we should be. So I encourage all of you young people, keep that recycling going.
So excited. They like bring in
Yeah.
their little stuff and they're just like
Great.
so excited. So
Great.
fun.
That's who'll get their parents to start, and then that generation then will come up.
They will.
Knowing how important it is.
Yeah.
Not fill up our landfills with a lot of this.
Save the earth. Keep those anything that's recycled does not go into the landfill.
That's right.
Saves a lot of space for us.
And let me throw in one more thing. This letter actually asked us to look into doing something different. And what that was, we'd like accessibility to greater variety of recycled items to be added to the refuse centers. An idea would be the addition of a bin for colored plastic at each center. We can now accept, we used to say clear and green plastics. We can take anything now, it doesn't matter the color, you just look on the bottom of your container. If it's 1 through 7, you can put it in there. So that's
Great.
something that we've just recently
Great.
started, so.
Are there any plans on ever getting glass recycling?
Well, that's gonna be further down the road, it's not something in the near future. We just hate to.
I'm asking, and there are ways to recycle your glass if you save your jars and use them for other things, repurpose. But we've had some questions brought up about that.
Where is your state competition gonna be?
Cool.
Do you know the dates?
We present the 30th of March. And we'll be there from the 29th to the 1st of April.
I bet that was a lot of fun working with those
Yeah.
age.
It's been 15 preschoolers.
Was that an igloo they had built?
Yeah. They all brought in milk jugs for about a couple months, and
Yeah.
then we just hot glued them all together.
Great, great. Well, again, we appreciate you being here with us today, and good luck to you on your competition. We hope to hear good news.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. John, thanks for bringing them in. All right, our next guest is Laney Fisk.
I too would like to express my appreciation to be able to come before this board this morning and express some of my concerns. May I borrow that just a second? That's what safe drinking water looks like, and that's what the water looks like coming directly out of my kitchen sink. I have tested that water periodically, the county health department has. It always comes back with bacteria in it, and on one occasion, it was too much bacteria to count. That's why I'm here today. I'm not the only one in that situation. There are literally hundreds of families in our county that don't have access to good health water. And I've been packing water for 34 years. And I can continue to do that till I die. But I really do hate for my children who live on the farm and my grandchildren to have to do that. Now, last year, in 2014, then Commissioner Anderson, I reached out to him for help with getting water, which is a half a mile down the road from me. And he said he would get back with me, and he did. And told me at that time that they had located enough pipe, that seemed to be the issue, and that they had located enough pipe and that I would have water by August of 2014. He also directed my son to call Mr. Gifford, and I hate to allude to Mr. Gifford today because he isn't here, I understand, because of maybe some health conditions. But my son did call him, and in their phone conversation, Mr. Gifford told him that they had the money available and were waiting on some engineering to be completed, and that we would have water by midsummer of 2014. 2014 came and it's gone, and we still don't have water. I don't mean to be here today talking about my own personal problem, because we have literally hundreds of families that are faced with the same situation. I've got all the water you would possibly want, but you can't drink it, and you either have to buy. We treat our own water, filter our own water, and so my appeal to this board is very simple. I'm asking this board to move clean, drinking, safe water to the top of the priority list for our county citizens. In my opinion, we don't have a more desperate need or a greater need when you have citizens that don't have access to good, clean drinking water. And that's my concern, and I wanted to express that today. And if you have any questions you would like to ask me, I really don't have any questions to ask you folks. I'm just asking you to move it up the priority list. Because I just don't think we've got a greater need in our county when you have citizens that don't have access to good, clean, healthy water. I was accused of it being quite rotten, but it's my understanding, it's much clearer than that. I don't know.
That's what Emily drinks.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
That's the good stuff, Emily.
Before we have a lot more discussion, there's, Mr. Hendrickson is here. You're here to address the same problem, right? I'd like to have him speak to us before we...
I live in the general area that Lanny does. I live in more of the southwest corner of Benton, just outside of the city limits on Housing Road, off Housing Road. And I knocked on probably 30 to 35 to 40 doors in the general area of Cole Lane, Cole Cemetery Lane, Bondage Cemetery Lane, on down to Wadesboro Road, and that leads over, I guess, over to Lanny's area. You've got same access to Google and internet that I have. You guys are as savvy as I am on that. You can look this up, as you can see how many citizens that there are in our county, are 32,000. You can see how many households there are. You can see how many families that are more than one in that household. And when you narrow it all down to this section of Marshall County, we're looking at probably 5 to 8% of this county. Does everybody in here have city water? Who does not have city water besides myself? Okay. Jason lives right down the road from myself. What I'm saying, I've been doing this since 1976. The first person I talked to was Coy Creason. And he said, David, no, he didn't say this, he said Davo, that's my nickname. He said, we'll never get city water out there. He said, my mother and daddy lives down there at the end of Hauser and Wadesboro Road. And don't you know if we get it, I'd get it for them. Well, it hasn't happened. It gets increasingly worse. I guess the frustration that I have, and I love Marshall County. I was born at Dr. McLean's clinic down here at 8 of 52, and I won't leave Marshall County until my children drag me to Nashville. I'm here to stay. But I don't understand, and I guess what is more valuable to me than anything in loving this county like I do, and being part of the school system as I have, being a minister in this county for 40 plus years, I don't understand, and I think it's a sad commentary on Marshall County, when we've got everything going for us that is good. But we've got citizens over here, 5 to 8%, that don't have potable water. I guess my question is who gives the directive of this? If we had the money, in which I understand we don't, I might take about $240,000 of Roger's money, but I understand that, and I'm not arguing that point. But what I guess my issue is, if we had the money, which we got a 2020 vision, I've talked to Bob about this, and I hope and pray that it comes to pass. I don't know if it's on track or not, is it?
We're continuing to work for dollars anywhere we can get them.
Okay. When we get those dollars, where are we gonna go first with this water? What is the reasoning behind, I guess, why are we last? Is it because of the number of residents on roads, or what do I need to work toward, I guess, is what I need.
Well, I'll explain it the best I can. It's been for years, we've looked at the hydraulics of everything. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we went in and received actually a very substantial grant, $800,000 to put the 2 towers in, one at Brewers and one in Oak Level. That was going to give us the hydraulic pressure in order to push water out into the other parts of the county. There's about 700 households, the way I understand it, that are without water. Just to make it clear, water systems, our water systems are the driver of these, and they basically, and that's Benton Water and Johnson Creek Water. I can tell you, other than the interest they have in getting people water, that's it. There's no financial gain for them to move this water because it's in such rural areas. There's so few people left that moving pipe into those areas will never be financially effective. So it's just a matter of getting it there because it's the right thing to do. Now, to speak to Hauser Road, the way I understand it now, and I'm speaking from what I've learned over the years. There's a line comes out of Benton down 58 by Hauser Road. It's my understanding that if we put a line down Hauser Road, it just barely sustains the 58 highway, the pressure, from a pressure standpoint. So right now, the next project in anywhere near that area would be to bring the Johnson Creek water. It's already out at 58 and 402 exchange out there, the Y. Bring the water down 402 to Wadesboro, and then back out to 402, make that loop. And that would hydraulically furnish that area. Now then, if you get to Hauser, from there you're gonna have to do it, my understanding, at least from Johnson Creek Water, will have the pressure to bring that in. Benton Water does not, without going all the way back in somewhere near, closer into town, and redoing all the lines out to that area. That's why Hauser Road actually probably has as many or more potential customers as any area that's left.
We do.
But it's my understanding, you'll have to talk to Benton, that's a Benton water issue there, that they don't have the pressure to take one of their lines down without going all the way back into town and doing something that would increase the pressure. You're mandated by state law to furnish, it's either 30 or 35 pounds at the meter, I forget what it is, but you have to have that much legally furnished water by the PSC, Public Service Commission.
I think Benton comes down part of the way down Houser Road.
About 3 to 5 residents down through there. I'm 7/10 of a mile from it, you're 8/10 of a mile probably, Jason. I mean, you're-
And Joe Parker's house is the last one.
I think Joe S. Parker's the last house that it comes.
I do
to.
not know the pressure
Thank you.
readings, I don't know anything about it, that's all I've been told, that there's not enough pressure to move that pipe, even if they had the pipe, that you couldn't put it onto the Benton system because there wouldn't be enough pressure.
What kind of money are we looking at for a substation gives us pressure power or whatever needs to be done?
I mean, I don't know what you probably, they would have pressure possibly if they just went back and increased the line size. I don't know what the engineering it would take in order to get that pressure built up. Jonathan, with the tower at the Brewers, Jonathan will have pressure to make any of those loops as dollars become available, but it's gonna move, and as you can see from just looking at it, I mean, it's kind of as they move that way, it'll have to be, on down the line before there'll be dollars available for pipe. My understanding, it's about a $10 million project if we got everybody in the county water, somewhere in that neighborhood, I believe, that's approximate.
Wait now, it's a $10 million project for the rest of us to have it?
For everybody to have water, I believe, it's something in that neighborhood.
But doesn't about 90 to 95% already have water?
Well, now that was done through possibly with partial grant dollars. It was gone into areas where there were subdivisions. It's gone into areas where the population is more larger, and so they've been able to actually do that and financially maintain their system. Again, from here on, again, Houser Road's a little bit of an exception. There's several houses on it that are fairly close to each other. The other areas are basically just, you have miles of pipe with just a very few customers.
Jason's water's good, I'm sure. I mean, your wells new, and of course, I've got 2 wells, and the second one is exhausted, or beginning to be exhausted. What I'm asking is, do you guys, and you do understand how this water situation is? I know that you do. I mean, I'm not talking to a group of people that don't understand. You know how bad this water is.
Oh, I understand, and we've encouraged everyone in all the areas to have their water tested, because when they test that water and turn those results into Bobby Gifford, he maps all that on our GIS department, so that when we go for grant dollars, we use those bad wells as one of the ways for us to try to improve our applications potential.
Has the health department condemned any wells in Marshall County that you know of?
The health department, as far as I know, what they do is recommend that the water not be drank. Most of the time it's or cooked with, possibly. I don't know how many, but any time that they have a well, people are hesitant to have their wells tested because they think they'll be condemned and they'll be told they can't use the water and they don't have any other source. So that's not generally the way. They'll tell people not to use it for drinking. They don't force them, but they tell them not to use it for drinking or cooking, and then they can use it otherwise.
Yeah, well, we don't, and I mean, there's a lot. Let me read these things. I'm not going to take up any more time. I want to say this, that I have talked to other people, and possibly after the first of next year in 2015, Will Corsi is one I've talked to for a long time. There is going to be possibility that money is going to be able to be given to Marshall County through the state. Now, whether that happens or whether it doesn't, I don't know. My question is to this court, will this money go to that water? And where will it go first?
Well, I don't know I don't know what monies that's being discussed at all. We look for every grant dollar that we can to move this project forward. Anything that can be applied toward a water project, I believe we have looked for those exhaustively. And right now, the next project that actually is on the list would be that loop I told you about. And then from there, there's right now I'd have to go back and check. The last I knew, the tower at Oak Level was not in service, and that's got to be placed in service. That's an issue beyond this court or Water Vision 2020. I believe that's being handled by Benton Water. And we built the tower, but I don't believe it's been placed in service yet.
Work with us because, and this is what I got from homeowners, okay? Of the doors that my wife and I knocked on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. When I pulled up behind one homeowner, he pulled up right in front of me. He opened the trunk of his SUV. It was jammed full of water, gallons of water. And I said, and I'm not saying who it is, I said, what are you doing with all your bottled water? Well, I knew. I was planning, you know. He said, you know what I'm doing with this water. I can't drink mine. He said, and my wife don't like to take a bath in ours, but she does, she has to, because it comes that muddy. And he said, I won't even let my dog drink this water. Another homeowner said that her kids, they had built a lined fish pond. The fish won't live in the water. Another individual told us that they would not have their water tested for the simple fact that they were afraid that the county health department would condemn it and they would have no water at all. Guys, it's bad, but that doesn't make money come our way. I understand that. Prioritize this thing, as Lenny says, get us water. And if it's 2020, if it's 5 years down the road, if I can see some pipe being laid, I'm going to be happy. And I'll be 67, and maybe I'll live to see it in Hauser Road. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I gotta go back to work. We got a few more minutes.
Thank you so much.
Judge, something that might clear that up, and I think needs to be said on, he's asking about where that water's gonna go first. Like any grant monies, especially anything we get or whatnot, there's guidelines and rules that to get that grant money, they will only let you spend it as they tell you and direct you to spend it. And I think that would better answer his question, is where you gonna spend it first. Y'all don't know.
At this point, we
And
can't
sometimes
say.
you don't have any control over that, the sheriff's right.
No,
It
that's
will go.
true.
But I do know that Bobby Gifford's working in Frankfurt, trying to find the monies. He's working hard at it.
Make sure, certainly those grant dollars now especially, we were very lucky to get the money for the two towers. The way we got it, we actually got, we spent $1 million putting in those two towers. I say we, the water system, actually Water Vision 2020 spent $1 million putting those towers in. 800,000 of that was grant dollars. That's unheard of. We lobbied and lobbied and lobbied for that. That's what's made the rest of this even viable, or we wouldn't even be close to this far. And then the county took on $200,000 of debt in order to manage that. So
Well, I know you
that's
do what you
we've
can.
been doing and taking steps to move forward. And Kevin's exactly right. There's all kinds of grant dollars out there, but some of them can be used for water projects, some of them cannot.
Well, you already answered one question that I was going to ask before I left, and that was whether the tower there that's a half a mile up the road has been charged. And you
I
said that it
don't
had.
think so. It hadn't the last I knew about it.
If it were charged, then pressure certainly wouldn't be an issue.
No,
for me.
would not be an issue in that area. And of course, all grant dollars now, certainly the 80-20 that we got on the other one, most of them are gonna be 40-60. You providing 60% or possibly 50-50. Those, they all come with money. They don't come free. I mean, you can't just get the entire set of funds for the project. Someone has to take on debt service in order to complete a project like that.
Well, you know, I'm just asking that this board, I mean, we are one of the richest counties in this area. With our tax base and our resources that we have, I'm just asking you to prioritize those resources and put it at the top of the list, because it is desperately needed.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I know 25 years ago when we lived on the other end of Post Cemetery that he did the water, our well water, even though we had a water softener, would eat through a water heater a year.
Okay, now we have Kyle Odell and Vicky Boatwright are going to address us. And you're with the
Marshall County Conservation.
Conservation.
I want to thank you, the court, for allowing the Marshall County Conservation District to come and speak to you. I know we have two new members on the court system. That's one reason we wanted to come and familiarize you with of our part of the local county government. I'm Kyle Odell, the chairman of the district. I have with me Vicky Boatwright, who is the administrative secretary, and Diana Angle, who is our district conservation. She works for the NRCS division. I just want to tell you just a little bit about it before we start. We have 7 board members: Ronnie Hargis, myself, Jeff Futrell, Philip Jarvis, David Joseph, Dennis Henson, and Tommy Riley. We're funded by the fiscal court through a 0.005% property tax. That's 1/2 of 1% property tax. The funds are used for, we could have brought we publish our annual budget every year in the newspaper, but we give $9,000 worth of college scholarships. We give camp scholarships, $1,000 annually to the 4-H and FFA. We have community-wide events such as tree seedling giveaways. They just sacked up the trees yesterday. We have Earth Day celebrations. We have a state fair, chartered bus trips. We have school events such as Ag Field Day for 4th graders. We have expected to have over 400 students in attendance this year. We have Safety Day for 5th graders every year. We also administer 2 different state funding programs, cost share programs for our local farmers, the Marshall County farmers, state cost share and CAPE program. We promote community partnerships by participating with other entities and grants such as Children's Art Center and Mike Miller Park Native Plantings. We provide access to staff and materials to assist teachers of our county to meet core content requirements, and we network with other conservation districts. The main reason that we're here today, excuse me, is to talk about our 4 watersheds in the county that we have. We might say, what is a watershed? Y'all got this information right there, and it's a little big, you can't hardly read it. We're gonna put it up here on the screen if we can. A watershed is an area of land where all the water that is under it drains off and goes to the same place. It's a misconception. Lots of times people call watersheds, they think that's the actual structure. But the watershed is actually the whole area that drains into that structure. And we're going to talk about these structures in more detail. The Marshall County Conservation District is responsible for operation and maintenance of 4 structures in the county, also known as watersheds, but more appropriately they're called flood retarding structures. We have this is one that's we're going to look at all of them here in a minute, but this is the one that's out on Highway 408. You can see on the right-hand picture a big shot of the levee of it. That's our largest structure. This is in a storm event in April of 2011. That's water flowing over the emergency spillway there, and that's doing exactly what it's supposed to do there. It catches the rainfall and creates an area that so it's not to prevent flooding downstream. We have there's in the 1960s the Conservancy District was formed. The East Fork and West Fork of the Clarks River was a Conservancy District, and it was started in the early 1960s. I think most of these structures were built in from probably the early 50s or maybe late 40s all the way up through the late 60s. The structures in our county were built in, I know one of them was built in 64 and one of them was built in 63. and I think the other two were about that same time. They were federally funded things that came in and were built to help control flooding. How are these funded? It says there are no new funds for operation and maintenance of these structures. When the Conservancy District was dissolved sometime in the 1970s, responsibility for the structures fell to the Marshall County Conservation District, but that we did not have any additional funding. At that time, they had a tax in place for the landowners, and the people within that watershed were taxed as far as to fund these things. This was done away with in the 1970s, and so they were just given to the conservation districts and said, hey, you're in charge of that. You know, the conservation district is authorized to set a new tax rate in order to fund its activities. This rate is currently set at 0.005%, 1/2 of 1% of property taxes, and has been stable at this rate since at least 1992, according to the Marshall County Treasurer's Office. This tax translates to approximately $74,000 for the fiscal year of 14-15. These funds are used for the education and outreach activities, payroll, equipment purchases for county resident uses, and other office operating expenses. Where are the structures in the county? We can see the one that we looked at there was the one on Highway 408, the one on the left right there. Is our largest structure, and you can see there it's really a small print, but you can see about how big it is. It tells us right here that the length of the levee is 2,115 feet, I think. And that tells you the size of it. There's one down in the bottom, in the very southern part of the county. And it's not near as big, you can see, but it is 1,170 feet the length of the levee. And then there's two in the north part of the county. One right off the Purchase Parkway that,
Hey, can you see that now?
Yeah.
Better.
Oh, much better. I'm like,
okay, go
You've
up to
lost Calvert City
Go
by
up there to
going
the
down
top
here.
of it,
I'll see
okay?
if I can figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
There
okay.
you go,
There
scrolling up.
Hey, there's two in the north part of the county. There's one right off the Purchase Parkway near Graftonville. You can see it in the wintertime over, as you're going from Graftonville to Benton. If you look over on the right, you can see it over there. It's the one we call on the Faust Sled Road. And then there's one on the Bridgetown Road. Those are the two that we're really talking about today as far as having problems with. They've been reclassified, in other words, from a low risk structure to a high risk structure. And we'll talk about why that is. Hey, on the next one, it talks about Public Law 566, and this was used to establish these watershed structures. It says KACD, which is the Kentucky Association of Conservation Districts, and the conservation districts support new technical, financial, and information resources to protect the integrity, safety, and continued function of these structures beyond their original extended life expectancy. Which, when they built these structures, they expected them to last 50 years. And as we can see, if they built 1963, 1964, they've already gone past that. They, you know, we're on past that, the 50-year life expectancy of it. And a lot of people, you know, they're owned by private landowners. They're not. The water, as I understand it, in the structure is owned by the state of Kentucky. But the land around it and the land under it are privately owned. And so a lot of people have come to us and said, hey, these things are filling up. Can we clean them out? Or, you know, we want you to clean them out. And they're designed to fill up. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to catch the water as it comes down the creeks and everything. It slows down. And of course, we know when water slows down, the sediment settles out of it. So over years, over 50 years, they are going to fill up. So that's what they're supposed to do. But, and what happened, you know, they're supposed to be done now. 50 years has passed, and we say, hey, you know, the life expectancy is gone on them, but they're still there, and we still gotta take care of them. We can see, it tells us right here, it says we can upgrade some of the structures to meet dam safety requirements due to unanticipated developments below or near the dams, which increase the potential for loss of life and economic damage. Advise downstream landowners, potential developers of dam hazard reclassification in breach zones or upgrade dams to meet new hazard requirements. And that's where we are right now with these structures. The ones at the Griggstown Road, the one on Foul Sled Road, they have been reclassified from a low hazard priority to a high hazard priority because of buildings below the dam. On the one on Griggstown Road, there's a house built and a double wide mobile home that's right there below it. You can stand on the levee and look right down and you can see them very easily. The one on Foul Sled Road, there's a mobile home court that's down below it. You can't see it as easily, but it's there. And not all of the mobile homes are affected by it. Just I think one or two are affected according to the breach analysis that we have had. We have been notified, it says districts with notices of violation from the Division of Water should seek financial, technical assistance from the state legislature and the NRCS under dam rehabilitation fundings authorized, provided by Congress. And seek funding from the state legislature to help sponsor development of breach maps to control downstream development and avoid hazard reclassification. What this is talking about is we have the Division of Water comes down and inspects these structures once a year, and they stand up there and they stand on the levee and look downstream there, and they see these structures down there, and that's the reason they got reclassified, because of these houses and things downstream. And they send our office, you know, a notice saying, you gotta do something. Or, you know, and they got real serious this last year. They sent us one and said, you really need to do something. Or, you know, we can start fining you. And they can fine us, I think $1,000 a day.
$10,000.
$10,000 a day if we don't take care of this problem, this situation. And what are we gonna do, you know? We inherited this from the Conservancy District that they built, that they had a long time ago, that was getting, you know, tax dollars and everything. So that's where we are right now on it. All right, our as I've already said, our new, we've had a reclassification of two structures. FRS 32, which is one on Foul Sled Road, FRS 33, which is the one on Griggstown Road. And it says, when areas are developed below structures, as we have seen in Marshall County, the Kentucky Division of Water reclassifies this as high hazard as a potential for property damage and other liability issues increases tremendously. All right, and it says, we can see here's the one on Griggstown Road. You can see as you can see downstream there, this is looking from the bottom of the levee, looking down the creek where it comes out. There's the water coming out right here at the bottom part of your picture. But on up, you can see those houses and stuff on downstream there, and that's what they're talking about as far as that one being reclassified. Over here on the right, you can see the one on Foul Sled Road, and you can see down there the mobile home court, and look and see, that's the reason that one got reclassified. It says local communities with NRCS assistance have constructed over 11,800 dams in 47 states since 1948. Many of these dams are nearing the end of their 50-year design life. Rehabilitation of these dams is needed to address critical public health and safety issues in these communities. And that's the 2014 Farm Bill made about $262 million available for rehabilitation of 151 dams in 26 states. These watershed management project provide an estimated $2.2 billion in annual benefits in reducing flooding and erosion damage, recreation, water supplies, and wildlife habitat for roughly 47 million people. Projects were identified based on recent rehabilitation investments and risk to life and property if the dam failure occurs. We see that this is not just in Marshall County. This is all over the state of Kentucky. This is all over the United States. As it says here, these, dams were built with good purpose in mind, and they're still doing what they're supposed to. They're helping prevent erosion and flooding and everything. So we can see that they're serving a purpose, but they're also creating a problem for a lot of people. Local government, for one. I know that they're under our Marshall County Conservation District care, but we come back to the fiscal court as far as, the buck stops with y'all. In other words, it's y'all's problem too, not just ours. We can see that right now, we are involved in participating with the NRCS as far as rehabilitation of these two structures that have been reclassified. These structures were selected by NRCS based on the recent reclassification by the Kentucky Division of Water and Rehab. This occurs in 3 phases: planning, design, and construction. We're in the planning stage right now. And what we're asking from the fiscal court, hopefully, we talked about this and we've had meetings on this before. This is not something that we just started, last week or nothing. We started this back in, I think, 2012. We had a meeting with all the fiscal court and they came and we had engineers from the NRCS, state engineers and all came down and we talked about this. And in other counties in the state of Kentucky, they are doing something to help prevent development below these dams. I know in Logan County, they have an ordinance which, I don't know if it prevents development below, but what it does, at least it warns the people that, hey, if you develop below, you've got to do certain things. If you build a house down there, you got to put it on stilts, so that just like it's on the shore of the ocean or something when a hurricane comes in. And they've got to know these things. And I know one time the Foul Sled Road reservoir or the land sold, and they advertised it as lakefront property. That was the real estate advertisement I remember seeing and hearing on the radio and TV was, this is lakefront property that we're fixing to sell, and they didn't say anything about it. You're not supposed to build all it because it might flood and all that. But this is a kind of thing that we need to try to prevent happening. And that's what we're asking and coming to the fiscal court for y'all to think about this. And we've talked to Bob Gold's been some of our meetings and everything. And I know with y'all 2 new ones, we wanted to bring this to you and tell you about it, what the situation was and the importance of it, because, whenever you're going to try to, I know we don't have county zoning, so it would be something that would be something that we don't normally do here in Marshall County. But we think as a conservation district that we need to have some kind of control maybe over the development of the property below these structures, so that, hey, just the planning stage that we're doing for the 2 on the one on Bridgetown Road is, no, the one on Foul Sled Road is the first one we're doing, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's costing like, what, $500,000 just for the planning stage of it, and that's just coming in and having the people come in and say what would happen if that structure failed, if we had a big rain, and, once in a 100-year rain, and the structure failed, and what would be impacted downstream if that happened. And so, you know, there's different options. One option is just to do away with it, to breach it. But that's not quite that easy. You just can't do that, you know? And that would cost up in $100,000. Another option is to, well, redo the dam. But then that's probably in the millions of dollars when you start talking about redoing the dam. So, so there's not really good options anywhere. Every option is gonna cost a lot of money. And so, that's the reason that we wanted to talk to the court about it, let you know that we do have a problem. We're trying to address this problem. They gave us, I think, the cutoff date was like, September 30th, 2014 from the Division of Water, that we had to do something. And so we wrote them a letter and told them, hey, we're trying to do something, you know? We're doing all kinds of studies and we're trying to be proactive on it, but we need to, and hopefully that satisfied them for a while, but the inspectors will be back down here, I guarantee you, this spring. And they'll be looking at it and we'll probably get another letter stating that, you need to do something. And that's the reason that we're coming to the court and asking y'all to think about this. I know that Jeff has looked at the ordinance from Logan County, and I think you have a copy of it.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
And what it means and what it says, and hopefully maybe we could have something like that in place here in Marshall County, so that I know we can't tell the people, hey, we're gonna, you know, there's different options as far as the people that are already there, built below the structures, but as far as maybe discouraging other people from doing this at these other structures, or maybe additional building downstream from the two that we've already had reclassified. Did I leave anything out? You want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I would like to say, the structures currently, the integrity of the structures is fine. There is not any danger of any four of these failing. You know, the issue with them failing and causing, you know, loss of life or property would of course be a catastrophic, you know, an earthquake or something like that. But right now, the board has done an excellent job of maintaining them. You know, we keep them mowed, they're not grown up in trees, there's not big holes in them. So as far as the safety factor, like they are, there's not danger of them failing. But it's just the issue that if something were to happen and they did breach, then right. Currently, you know, we have two that, I mean, there could potentially be a loss of life if all of a sudden there's a flood of water coming through a mobile home. And that's what we, you know, were initially concerned about that. But like Kyle said, we also have two other structures that right now are not an issue. But one of them has a huge farm that lays right below it that, you know, if the current landowner sells, it would be prime subdivision all over the place. And that's what we want to get this in place to where that will never be an issue that, you know, we have to deal with later. Because, right, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars to upgrade these. And, you know, nobody has that. The federal government is willing to kick in a big portion of it, but you have to have the match to do anything to get their help. And so that's why we want you all to be aware of the situation and aware that it's an issue that it's not going to go away. And at some point, you know, our feet may get held to the fire over it.
Jeff, do you have anything to help us along with this?
The Logan County has more watersheds, I think, than any other county.
They have like 23, I think.
But Logan County also has full-wide, countywide zoning. And so, which makes a big difference, you know, that you could enact some type of legislation to warn or advise those property owners and residents within that certain area that of the dangers. like, for instance, you know, with the area, I assume you're talking about the one out at Oak Level, that
Yes.
flat area out there
Yeah.
below it. And then, you know, it's that these properties are already owned, some of them, like you said, they're already residents there, but I think you know, that would be a preventative means to advise and educate these folks as to what's sitting on the other side of that big hill in front of their trailer.
Right, but and to make it very clear, it has nothing to do with the ongoing maintenance. It's simply because there's been residential development below these structures. That's what's changed this, that's it.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been any residential development, nothing would have changed. Because the integrity of the dams are as far as the state and whoever's been inspecting them is concerned, are good.
Yeah, they're very well maintained. We mow them twice a year and keep, like Diane said, the woody growth. And we had a crew come in this last fall and did a lot of clearing on one of them with a big chopper, cutting down trees and stuff where the woods is kind of encroaching out on it. And this is not, I mean, this is private ground that we're doing this on. This is just helping us take care of the structures. We're just trying to take care of the structures and maintain them the best we can. Do y'all have any questions or anything about the structures or the ordinance or that Logan County has or whatever?
How are the four watersheds, and I listened before the meeting, but you're all's response to what watersheds are, and not just the structure itself, but the surrounding structures and so forth. Whose property are those four watersheds? Who owns that property? I know the watershed area is the, you know, residential and private.
There's different landowners. Most of the time, it's people that are right there close. In fact, the watershed, the one on 408 just sold back, I don't know, a year ago or so. Dr. Jaco did own it, and I think Kurt Johnson, I believe, owns it now, or a lot of it. Doug Hall owns part of it. You know, there's different, just like a boundary is, there's you know, the boundary line may be right down the middle of it, and I think Kurt Johnson owns a lot of that one. That out there, and then Doug Hall owns part of it, and there may be another owner.
There's three.
Alan over.
Yeah,
Alan
three
owns
that own that one.
But that's the properties around it that make up the, you know,
Well, I mean,
structure.
yeah,
But I'm
and
talking about the individual, the water, your all's part of it, the structures.
We're responsible for taking care of the dam.
But those property owners own where
They
the
own it,
dam
but we
is?
take care, yeah, they
Oh,
own it.
that's my question, okay.
Yeah, they
I
own
didn't
the
ask it
property.
very well, but.
It's privately owned,
Okay.
but when they bought the property, there's an easement on there that tells them, that the easement's on there that says that the Marshall County Conservation District is responsible for maintaining that, and we have full access to it as far as, and they're limited to what they can do, you know.
Right.
They can't just come in there and do whatever they want to it, because if it damages the structure, the integrity of the dam, then that's something that we had a problem with that at the one on Bridgetown Road, and we got that straightened out. But the landowners actually, I mean, they own the property, and that's been a kind of a sore spot too, you know, because it's all of, maybe, you know, all of us own different properties, and we think, hey, it's our property, we can do whatever we want to with it, but that's not necessarily the case, and it's with these structures, because they're there for a purpose, and what you do to it affects lots of other people, or could affect a lot of other people.
How did that originate, the people that, before the dates that these structures you were referring to, the one on Foul Sled and Greggstown Road, what happened when these structures were first put in or
What they
built?
did, I mean, they came in there just like.
And just told the people that owned the property they were gonna do that, or worked out a deal?
Yeah, they
or
worked out a deal with them, and I'm sure they were
bought an easement or-
compensated,
Oh, okay.
financially
Okay,
at that
okay,
time,
right.
because, you know, they lost use of that property.
Right,
It
okay.
might have been just a row
Right,
crop field or
probably
something.
compensate for that.
Yeah,
But the
compensated at
people
that
that own it
time.
now know what they're getting into when they buy it, so.
And some of the regional property owners probably are the same, you know, maybe is, or is still in the same family as it was when it was built.
Right.
But a lot of them have changed hands, and when they change hands, you know, they buy that property and they understand that. It's on their deed that, hey, you know, there's an easement, you can't do whatever you want to with it.
But all the property below there has no such warnings or remedies or anything on them. Jeff, can we legally create an ordinance that says you can't develop that area below those?
No, you can't just I mean, you'd have to condemn it.
That's what I mean. I don't.
But that would be completely a different issue. I mean, that would be for a public use.
Exactly.
And that's the reason
think
that these counties like Logan, they have to have zoning so that because they have so many. I think their basins even overlap, you know, big areas. So I've looked into that, talked to their officials about that
They would zone that as just non-residential or agriculture or whatever only, or?
Right.
Normally agriculture
Yeah,
land, you
couldn't
can,
have any
you can
structures
develop,
or anything,
you can
right.
develop, you know, agricultural land. So it'd have to be specific below those areas. It would have to say no structures allowed.
Mr. Odell, is that not considered a flood zone below those dams?
I'm sure it is, but I mean, people still build in flood zones. I mean, you can, there's one house I know was built, I think, in the 1970s, and the structure was definitely there. And, I mean, they were building that house and just across the road, you know, 100 yards, you could see the dam is right there. And then there's another one, the mobile home, the double wide mobile home, it's probably, you know, probably 30 or maybe 20 yards from the creek that drains the structure. And so, you know, it's right there beside it. And it was moved in, probably in the 1990s, I think. So, I mean, they were well aware of where it was and everything, but they went ahead and did that. Would there be the ordinance or something, could it state that we could have limited, I mean, as far as warning and have certain restrictions as far as, if there was any building that went on, or?
You could, the most you could probably do would be a resolution where the court designates that area as, because of this new, classification, and advising that people not reside there or build any new structures, or, you know.
We'd have to do that even though the ones that aren't at high risk at this time, though, we'd have to try to
go ahead
include them
and do those
some way.
as well, right? Yeah, regardless of the reclassification, but.
I don't know if that's enough to satisfy.
So we can't have an ordinance like they do in Logan County?
Not without zoning. You'd have to zone, that property would have to be zoned, and there's a whole legislative process to do that.
Kyle, one thing that may help that situation, and of course, we have had our expanded jurisdiction taken away temporarily, but we're working on the process of getting that back. But the 70 new homes that are built in Marshall County every year, the state is required and mandated that there's residential as well as commercial inspections, so we will know, or won't we know, every new home or addition to a new home, any kind of major construction or new construction, we will know that in that process, because the residential property has to be inspected now because state's mandated that. But you know, that'll be another avenue to educate those new homeowners or major renovations in those areas, so that you know, we can attach something to that, the application process, and you know, that's would be a warning to them, or at least to educate them that you know, in that, you know, somebody's got to go out there and inspect it, that this is a problem, and you know, maybe like I say, at least educate those people in that area that before that new construction takes place.
I don't guess, since it is a zoning issue, we couldn't require that they build at least so high, like you do in floodplains?
That's limiting their use of their property. I mean, for instance, right here in the city, you know, along the city creek is in a flood zone. And
I know.
it just caught, you know, it makes, you can build there and it's gonna flood at some point in time, but it only affects your financing and your insurance rates. You know, it doesn't keep you from doing it.
I mean, we've got an ordinance in 3 cities, and the county has an ordinance already requiring so many feet above board for residential structures.
In floodplains?
In floodplain, yeah.
Yeah.
Floodplains, right.
Yeah.
100-year flood.
Do we have a map, or do we have a map that draws that exactly downstream from there where?
That's what we're doing with these breach analysis that we're working on right now for the 32 and 33 structure. That's what they do. They come in and that costs, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. With that, we're doing the NRCS, that's the money that we got from them, and we're gonna do both of those. We just signed up to do the one on Greekstown
The
Road.
stuff
one
that you provided us last year gives a pretty good idea of where it is.
Yeah.
Though they had some general maps. They didn't give exact elevations, but you could take that and look at where it applies on
I was just thinking about getting that in our GIS system so that we could actually get a good map of exactly where that.
Of course, like the one, you know, the bigger the structure, the one on 408 would cover a lot larger area than one of the smaller structures, which the 2 smaller structures are the ones that we're more concerned about right now because that's the ones that have been reclassified. But, you know, when you're talking about actual damage, the larger the structure, the more. And so that has changed. When we had the meetings before and things, we thought we might be able to get an ordinance, but.
Yeah, that's because, you know, Logan County came up and that's the reason Judge Miller had me check that out. And then we figured out that they had zoning. Because I knew there had to be, you know, they had I knew I saw the signed ordinance.
Yeah.
But the reason they can do that there is because they do have zoning.
Okay. All right, I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but that's where we are with it, and we just wanted to bring it and make y'all aware of it, and I know there's not a clear answer to it. We won't work it out this morning, but thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Kyle and Vicki. We appreciate you being here and bringing us up on that. Before I go any further, I noticed that we have Counselor Johnson with us this morning. Are you needing to address the court today?
No, I told you, last fall, we agreed that the city and the Benton and the fiscal court would participate with Huntington National Bank in getting a contract so that we could sell the Fleetwood plant out here. They got all that contract worked out, and we had signed it, and we discussed it with them. We realized that they were including some costs in there that they wanted the city and the county to be responsible for, and that was not the agreement we had with Huntington National Bank. So we told them that we would not send those agreements back until they were modified. They sent me some earlier in the week. I was going to bring them today for you all to sign. I got a call this morning. They're bringing some modified documents. So we will be signing those if it's all right with you all, that I'd bring them to Cheryl to sign on Friday, and we'll get Rita to sign on behalf of the city on Friday. But they're revised documents. They will authorize a real estate firm in Nashville to advertise. They do specialize in industrial sites, and they're going to try to market it for Huntington National Bank. If they're not successful, then we're going to have an auction sale of that, and it'll be sold. So that's where we are on that, and I wanted to update you on that, but to let you know we would have a contract to be signed on Friday.
And I can do that without any kind of...
Well, you've already been authorized.
Already been authorized, okay.
It's a different contract.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was the only difference is that there were some costs included that they didn't.
They have knocked those costs out now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know, they had some fees and costs that we were gonna have to guarantee payment of, and I told them that was not our agreement.
Right.
This is strictly a sale by Huntington National Bank. They had foreclosed on it and realized when they got down to the point where they were gonna have to sell it, that they'd be better off to try to market it through some kind of national firm and try to do a better job of marketing what they're doing.
Very good. Very
So
good.
we're gonna hopefully get that contract Thursday. He said he'd have it here Thursday. I'll get it signed on Friday and get it back to them, and maybe we can get that plant sold and back in operation.
Very good. Thank you, Marty, for waiting on
Marty,
us.
for all that
Appreciate it.
And do more. Informative too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're gonna move on to correspondence. We have a letter here from the Marshall County Arts Commission, and rather than reading the entire thing, mainly, we had at one time been putting in the budget $5,000 for the Arts Commission. That was stopped. I'm not sure at what point, but they didn't include it in last year's budget or the last 4 years' budget. I'm not sure exactly. They're just asking if there's any way we can consider putting them back in the budget to assist the Marshall County Arts Commission.
We of course, we were looking at reducing costs, and then they received their grant dollars and some matching funds, and we pulled them out because I guess we have actually helped or signed to guarantee the note if there's a problem, and I think that was the reason that we kind of backed up on those funds, so we made we're obligated to help if they need it.
Okay. So, well, basically, at this point, I just need to ask if anybody wants to put any of that back into the budget. Do you want to push this over to the budget meetings to discuss?
I would think $5,000 is a budget item, and that we're gonna be talking about it here in the.
So I guess we will take this and table it, if that's the correct, to the budget meetings and see if there is any money.
We've co-signed that note anyway.
We have, yeah, and they generously took care of that in the past, so we will address that in there and see if there's any money at all that we might be able to.
They were requesting it to be added to a line item in the budget. That's the way I understood it, not just isn't that correct? They wanted to add
Was
that
it a
back.
line item before, or was it
It was
included in
with
the?
special contributions,
Right.
such
Yeah.
as
Well,
the
I
Yeah.
just,
dental
Wasn't really an
programs.
item, it was just part of special contributions.
Yes,
And I
yeah,
know-
special
It
it said
contributions
part of the
is
line
something.
item, and that's the
Yeah.
way that the.
Special
budget is.
contributions is always something we go over in
Right,
budget
it wasn't
workshops.
ever guaranteed.
Right.
It was just an annual.
And we do know we're facing budget items that we need to start looking at reducing. So we will talk about that later then in the budget meetings, workshops. The next item coming up is Public Protection Cabinet sent some revised cost on plan review fees is what they're called, I guess, and that's taking the cost per square foot, the prior cost, up. I know we're short on time, so I'm not gonna read. Do y'all have copies of this?
Yes.
So, yeah. Basically, just let you know what the rates are. I don't think there's any motion or anything called on to, because we can't approve them. It's done. They've told us what.
I think our ordinance says it will follow the state rate.
Okay. So anyway, they're just a little higher. It doesn't, 2 cents most of the time, 4 cents a couple of times, so. The next item is actually just an announcement that came from Wacker Chemical Corporation. They've expanded. Wacker?
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
The German pronunciation, I guess. But anyway, they have announced some expansions, and we're thrilled to death to hear that. Always. Okay. Don't have anything else in correspondence. We'll go to old business. You have a copy of the minutes of the March 3rd, 2015 meeting.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is audio proposals, and I'll leave that over to Miss Emily to tell you what we have received on audio proposals for our courtroom.
I met with Mr. Walston, who is the one that we briefly discussed with you before about And he gave us two different quotes on audio only in the remodel courtroom. One quote is for hanging speakers that will give a slightly better audio for the people listening. That's $9,925. And then the other is for ceiling mounted speakers, speakers mounted in the ceiling. And it is for $9,375.
It's about $600 difference.
Yes. He does have about 4 projects that he has sent out proposals on. So he said, you know, depending on when, if we choose to go with him or to do this, notifying him on a timeline. If he gets all 4 bids, he'll be busy for a little bit of time. So.
This doesn't include any kind of acoustical.
No acoustic treatment,
Treatments
no
or anything.
video. And if ever a court meeting where we've had video needs.
Do they? I mean, what did he? I mean, he's been here. They know
He said
the situation.
the acoustic treatment. He would recommend carpeting at least the aisles and some of the areas up there.
But we're just not putting down the floor.
Yes, and I think it's just gonna get filthy, and if we do, we're gonna need a budget to replace it like every 2 to 3 years. I mean, I just think it's, I don't know, my opinion is if we're not.
I wonder if we could just, I mean, I don't know how
Try
our
it.
old, huh?
Try it and see how
Well,
bad it is.
what I started to say, maybe we could work with our old sound system and see what that's gonna work like without any acoustical improvements.
Well,
And if it's, I mean, I don't know how much difference there's gonna be in the systems.
I think the problem with the old sound system is, well, number one, we'll have to drill holes in the brand new desk, and then if we decide that we need to upgrade it or it doesn't work well, because we got more spots that we'll need audio up there than what we have now, then we're gonna have to drill new holes in the new desk.
And I think we're just not gonna know until we
and-
try something,
And
how it's gonna
the
be.
getting the wire, the audio box, I don't even know what it is, but that up to the, we're either gonna have to run lines down the floor or something to get connected to that.
If we're gonna continue to video, we definitely need a decent sound system.
And I guess, do we, I mean, just like what you just said, we need to be, if we don't do anything else, preparing to run cables of some sort to, so that we're not taping cables to our new floor.
If we stick with what we have, we're gonna be,
We'd have to do that, right?
yeah, cause I just feel like it's kinda silly to have the guys go to expense to run the old system.
And
drill
he
through the
has
floor
said
and
that he
yeah.
can put it under the new desk. He can put it where the new desk is.
Yeah, the new system will all be mounted up underneath the desk.
Can we run cables in for the video and all? I mean, have it, prep it?
If we ever
This
get
is the
that
guy
far.
that did that, I mean, could he prep it for video and then it's come back later and possibly make it easier without having to go to so much trouble?
I don't know.
I mean,
We
we've
did-
got-
we
what
didn't
we
even
got-
talk to him
I
about
didn't address
video.
any kind of video.
We've got budgeted, what, we got some budget money for this, correct?
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna have to fall into the capital projects line item, and there's $200,000 in there, so I mean, there's budget money for this type of thing.
It shouldn't be that hard to run a channel for audio stuff. I mean, you're not talking cables this big
I
around.
understand.
I don't think it'd be that.
I just wondered if they could run all the cables they need wherever, you know, for the video and the audio and get all of it done.
And prep to
then-
get it when we can
and
afford
prep, And
it.
then one day, if we needed to, we'd have it there hooked up. We'd have, be able to hook it up.
Yeah. We can, you can ask him that.
I can go back to him and ask him,
I mean, I'd be prepared for us to do this.
mhm.
Because we do, it
We need
sounds
some
like to
type
me,
of
we
a audio
absolutely
system.
need this equipment in. And
Mhm.
it's all new, whether it's perfect or not, we'll just have to see. But I would prefer doing it by going ahead and myself, getting it prepped for video as well, and then at some point, maybe then we could go forward with it at a much less reduced expense than when we take that next step.
Gary Takenbrock has also said that he would be glad to work with him, and if there's any way he and his crew can assist him, if that will give us any cost
Well,
reduction.
that's what I was meaning,
Reduce
while
labor.
they're up there working, that
Yeah.
this is the time to get everything in that we think we need.
Yeah,
For this
but-
project, whether we put the equipment in or not.
Can I make a suggestion on the two different ones? I know there's $300 difference, but you're talking about acoustics. If you do it in the ceiling, that's gonna, your bounce is gonna
Bounce
be
It'll be
back on.
worse than the hanging.
hanging on the wall. And the
Yeah.
acoustics are not that bad up there. I mean, it could use a little help, but they're not that bad. We do the big singing day up there and it has good acoustics for that. So it's
Steve
not
pointed out
bad.
that same thing in the letter information.
Well, it's not that much difference if you're gonna spend $9,000
Yeah, I
to
would,
spend
yeah.
$600
Yes, I don't have any issue
more.
with that.
And actually, what you're looking at right there would be something that you could actually dampen the walls with to help the acoustics, is something like that. Right
That's
there.
what I would, that's what.
Really?
And that's very inexpensive to do that with.
We could get it decorative enough that it wouldn't be just a
Yes.
standout. Well, would you like to entertain a motion to go ahead? I mean, the longer we wait, the longer we're gonna have to wait for him to do it. Which I'm not trying to rush you or anything, but if we're gonna have to have something anyway,
Well, I'd make a motion that we go with this 9925 with the hanging speakers and then ask for what it would take to do the additional wiring and, maybe possibly get that at the next meeting.
For
But at
future.
least go forward with the audio, this proposal.
Yeah, while we're already, have our crew upstairs already in conjunction with that, I agree that that's foolish not to, it's gonna cost longer in the,
Yeah.
more in the long run if we don't do that.
Yeah, I think this
While we're in
is
the
the time
middle
to do
of
it.
redecorating.
alright. Then we can, okay, it's motion and second. We can come back with you on that video wiring part of it after she's had a chance to speak with Mr.
Yes,
Wallerstein.
that would be good.
Okay, and we've made a motion to,
Go with the hanging speakers.
go with the hanging speakers, and there's been a second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And obviously, we don't have to bid this, it's under $20,000.
That's exactly,
Okay. Which that was the problem before when the audio, video were.
Right,
Okay.
combined.
Okay.
Okay, we had a site study industrial park. Wendy's with us this morning because Josh has a couple of clients that are in here looking at our county and he needs to be with them. So Wendy's going to come up and readdress this issue.
Well, I spoke with Josh this morning. We've both been running in 100 directions. So he said that he had spoke to most of the court members. And I know it was in the last court meeting. So we were hoping that we could get the approval to go ahead and do our study today. And so that's what we're looking for. I know it was mentioned, like I said, at the last meeting, and it's been talked about and discussed. So we just wondered how you guys were feeling about it, if it's something we could go forward, if it's something to put in our budget as a budget line, I believe. And so we just kind of want your recommendation on what to do from this point.
Okay, from what I understand, this has already been in the budget. So, and I would like to clarify something that has been mentioned in the media a couple of times, that obviously I may have misrepresented myself in thinking that I disapproved of that. I did not disapprove of that. I simply wanted to ask a question about, once we got this study done, where were we going to find the money to actually develop? And it was just that. So at this point, I just guess I need to ask you gentlemen what you think we need to do. We obviously can't go anywhere on getting an industrial park unless we start somewhere, and one start option is obviously going to be looking for the best site.
Let me ask Jeff a question. First of all, when we're talking about property or acquiring property, that is one of the things that we can, I've got some information that I would like to discuss and want to protect the property owner, and in an executive session sometime, we're going in and not get into the long version of it, but I think that you all need to be aware of and it's,
That just
and
needs to be-
protecting the property owner, that's, the discussion would be about, that.
That's just that would be part of the motion going in, because
Okay.
it would be, if it's personnel.
Don't know that we
personnel
want to do
and-
that, but I think there's some information that I would like everyone to know that.
Well, we'll be going into that in the next
Correct.
couple of minutes, hopefully,
Right.
so I will
Okay.
ask for that on the executive
Okay.
session. What do we need to do to direct them at this point, though?
Well, what we're asking for is just a study to figure out what properties are viable for us. We had a bidding process with 2 different companies. We had a scoring sheet, and that was the document you guys got. And so what we're just asking for is not permission to purchase any property and understand where the commissioner's coming from. But ours is to do some studies, do some background research, those sort of things. So it's not Josh or I going and talking to property owners. It's a firm that does that for a living, and they have experience doing that
For the entire county.
for the entire county.
I did talk to Josh a little bit about the project and ask him, because my concern was if we do this study, how long is it good for? If we don't foresee any money to build a park in the next 5 years, is that study still gonna be good? And he said, he felt like that study would probably be good for between 10 and 20 years, given we don't have some type of giant natural disaster or something that would alter it, but that he felt like that the study would be good for a length of time to give us something to plan toward.
But we budgeted $100,000 to do this.
To do the
It's
study.
come in at 67.5. Okay.
So I would entertain a motion. I know it has been approved by the former court, obviously, and maybe we need to go ahead and entertain a motion and let them go ahead.
Go ahead.
And hire this company to do that study.
Right, I agree.
That's why I asked that question. Like I say, I think it's important, that before, in making that decision, before we vote on a study, that the other commissioners, because it's you know, against the law for us, as we all know, to discuss this, behind closed doors, and the only time we can talk about this, but I think that it'll be helpful, the information from the property owners. I know we're not talking about buying property or acquiring property, but I think after you hear the, not a proposal, but the properties that are available, that may make a difference, or at least
Okay.
educate us.
Well,
on
in that
making a
case,
better
if you would
decision.
like, we will table this until we come back from the executive session to make a decision on that.
Okay, yeah.
All right, we'll just table that then until we come back. Thank you, Wendy. I have no other old business on the agenda here. We'll go into new business. We have a resolution that I would like to have Jason read for us. He is so good at that. I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you.
One thing I can do wrong. Marshall County Fiscal Court Resolution, a resolution of the Marshall County Fiscal Court requesting increased cooperation and a temporary halt to logging from the United States Forest Service in regard to landscape forest management of Lamprey Lake. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court is concerned over the expansion of logging and timber management in the name of pre-European landscapes and of oak grasslands, barrens, and savannas and woodlands within Lamprey Lakes, and whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court has specific concerns regarding major landscape change of Lamprey Lakes, and whereas many residents of Marshall County utilize the Lamprey Lakes area for their recreation needs, and whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court desires an improved maintenance plan for all recreational areas and trails for road improvements, be it hereby resolved that Marshall County Fiscal Court expresses its request to the United States Forest Service for a temporary halt to all logging and burning operation in the Lamprey Lakes, including timber already sold, until a thorough and complete review, discussion, and public debate can take place regarding the landscape restoration plans. This includes oak grassland, thinning of canopy, woodlands, grasslands, barrens, savannas, and burning. We also ask for a halt to the Fiscal Bay project. We also ask for maintenance and upkeep of recreational trails, bike trails, horse trails, campgrounds, current recreational facilities, and improved road conditions to be part of this discussion.
Thank you very much. I guess I need to entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
Move we adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel and property.
So moved, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? We will be in executive session for a while, folks. We'll be back. We're calling the regular meeting of the Marshall County Fiscal Court back in session after having executive session on personnel and property. During our meeting, we addressed a pay increase for Casey Tubbs requested by Tony Henson. I would entertain a motion that we accept this raise.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion is, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I just want to discuss, I want to be sure everybody understands the details, I guess it's Tony, yeah, Tony's here.
Yeah.
You want to explain it, that we're reducing the county
Correct.
employee?
I currently have 2 county employees. One of those is being moved to a state position. Rather than filling that county position, I'm asking instead to take a portion of that money and give a raise to the remaining county employee to bring her up in line with the salaries for the state people that are in my office.
Which will save us
Yeah, you still come
Several
out.
thousand.
several $1,000s.
And it brings her up to the people that she's working right beside doing the same work, more into their pay level.
Correct. As, like I said, come July 1, she will still be the lowest paid person in the office, but it will get her much closer.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And this,
So,
this goes into effect April 1st, correct?
That's what I'm asking for, which coincides with the date
The
that the other
transition
employees
for
move
the other employee.
off of the county payroll. Yes.
okay.
Okay.
So the motion's been made and seconded. Any more
Yes,
discussion? Okay.
because the way I'm gonna vote, I wanna explain the same thing since it's been explained the other way, and what was said, just say that in public, that, that the county now has a hiring freeze in place. We have an additional 170 other employees in this county, and, the state has given us a formula where it's proposed that they receive a 0.755% increase if nothing else changes. Which is not a whole heck of a lot, increase for those other employees, the other 170 employees. Going in this position with Casey Tubbs, the employee in question, she's going from $10.30 an hour to $15 an hour, which is a 45.6% pay increase, and I'm not prepared to do that to the other employees at this time.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, motion been made and seconded, discussion been had. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. We also discussed some property, but there is no resolution or action taken on that. Now you're gonna have to help me. Where am I at? Treasurer's report? Did I have anything else to address when we come, oh, yes. The industrial park. We, tabled that until after our meeting, and I again would entertain a motion to approve the study for the location of a new industrial park. And, do I hear a motion on that?
I'd move that we move forward with this site study, actually sites study for the entire county to see where, there are places in the county where we might move forward with an industrial development.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Just that that was one of the things we went to exec session, same thing, and to say that public, there's other properties that, I just wanted the other commissioners and judges to be aware of the fact that there are other possibilities where there's properties available, and, at, very, the price would be right on that property, and, just wanted them before they voted to, have the same
Absolutely, and that
information
was discussed, and I
that I
think, yeah.
had of the 150-acre tract already available at no cost to the taxpayers of Marshall County.
Okay.
And
Okay. That being said, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries.
And to clarify that, I am not against an industrial park. I think it's a great idea. I think there's just other circumstances that, and other directions to go that will save this county considerable amount of money. But I'm all for an industrial park. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. I think I've got caught up on that now. We're ready for the treasurer's report.
On February 28, 2015, the general fund had a book balance of $1,282,924.24. Road fund, $465,283.21. The jail fund, $335,275.53. The grant fund, $12,883.77. 911 fund, $70,963.91. The occupational tax administrator fund, $2,829,977.66. And the veterans van fund, $1,774.39, for a total reportable funds of $4,999,082.71.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report subject to audit.
So moved, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Payroll fund.
As of February 28, 2015, our sheriff's office owed $206,139.25 for payroll of 2015. This is customary, just reporting you all what is due at the time.
Okay. That was also accounts receivable report.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Emily, intra-fund transfers.
We paid a lot of bills this month for the road department, including the bridge bill for the new hospital, and there were several other larger amounts in there. So I need to move $250,000 from the occupational tax fund to the road fund. So that is a part of the total budgeted subsidy that we have directed to them. Just need your authorization to do
Oh,
so.
okay, there I am.
Transfer.
There my
Sorry.
motion, and there is a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Oh, keep wanting to give it to the wrong person.
sorry.
Where is the dog report? Okay. Animal shelter report. For the month of February 2015, animals in pen SF 131-15-31, animals brought in by animal wardens 19, animals brought in by citizens 45, total animals taken in 64, animals adopted 42, animals in foster care 0, animals reclaimed 5, animals euthanized 4, animals in pen SF 228-2015 44, adoption fees $1,000.30. I guess we would entertain a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
Let's pay the bills.
Second.
All right, motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Does anybody have anything else to bring
I
up?
have one question.
Okay.
Next meeting is April 7th. That is Tuesday of spring break. Actually, we're traveling on spring break, so I would not be here. I can have an assistant here, but I would not be able to be here.
You gonna be here, Doc?
Yeah?
I've talked to everybody. You're the only one I probably didn't talk to, and everybody seemed to be able to be here, so I didn't consider a change.
April, that's Tuesday,
I've
yeah.
actually worked around.
The day after Tater Day, actually.
Yeah, and if everybody's okay, I've worked around. I've got some other places, traveling I have to do other times in the month, so it'll be Just as well for me to.
Well, you can have either Jason or
Yeah, I can
Lisa.
have an assistant here and I'll be
Yeah.
available by phone.
Okay, all right. So we will leave that meeting as is. Now, what I do need to do is let you know, in some old business, we had the youth village discussed. The Dr. Saeed's, purchased youth village is called, I think. He is going to be here on April the 21st at our fiscal court meeting. Hopefully we're not going to have to change that for any reason. Let me know if there is a reason. But he is going to come to address us and to address any of the local people that have questions regarding the facility, the type of patients that will be there. And I need to let you know this. I need to probably get anybody we can to let us know, let everybody know in the area that want to attend the meeting. Hopefully, we'll be up in the upper courtroom, so we'll have plenty of room.
That'll be the second meeting in.
It'll be the
Okay,
second meeting of
that'd be- we
April,
should
but
be-
he
matter
has
of fact, we should be
requested,
up there.
he has requested, to come and talk to us, to try to set everyone's minds at ease, regarding this facility.
Is he coming to talk to us or coming to talk to the general
He's going to
public?
address the court. Now, what
Okay.
I have told him is, if it gets lengthy, past a point, I mean, I know, we've seen quite a few of these lately, but if it gets too much at length and he gets overwhelmed, we're gonna ask that we cut it off and he stay over and let the people asking questions after our meeting. So we're not overburdened with too much of the discussion during our regular meeting time.
That was my question. It didn't need to be a town meeting, public hearing, or whatever you call it, instead of the middle of a dog and pony show during the middle of a court meeting. And
Jeff, I mean,
You can do it either way, obviously, it's.
I mean, I'll be glad to sit there and listen to him, but you know, is the general public, and when we're conducting business, are we gonna allow, you know, the conversation that goes back and forth from the people in attendance, the nice lady that was here?
Well,
opposed to
obviously,
it,
he'd be
and-
here as a
and
guest, he'd
some-
be in
some
the
of her
first
friends.
part. Yeah, he'd be
Right.
in the first part.
But are we
And
gonna
as I
let
said-
them have, you know, conversation back and forth and, you know?
Gonna ask questions.
Yeah,
They
they
are.
are gonna ask
Oh, I
questions. If
realize
was there,
that.
I would ask, that's why I'm saying that. Are we gonna?
And I realize that, that's why I asked
is
Jeff,
that- is that
and
a-
we
is
need to
this a
set some
forum for
guidelines
that
on
kind
that.
of confrontation?
And I'm okay if we want to just set a
Oh, I don't
special
know,
meeting
I'm just
up.
asking.
We can do that, or we can limit, I mean, we can just let him give his, I guess, explain his situation and limit how, tell everybody up front, you know.
Could you do it this way, have him as your guest, have him present his part of it, and already have pre-announced that he will stay afterwards to answer any questions of anybody.
Yeah.
Adjourn,
that's what I was-
they will come after the meeting down here to do that, or?
Or they can wait up there until we're through with our business.
Can we-
Hopefully, we won't have a meeting like this one.
I understand, but can we ask the fellow that we're talking about coming and wants to address the
I
court?
asked him.
Okay, will he hang around after the court meeting so we can tell the general public in our audience instead of taking up time while we're
Yeah,
conducting
that'd be
business?
I
If
did
he would do that,
expressly
that
ask
would be
him if he
great.
would, and he
Okay,
said
that'd
he
be-
would.
Okay, if he would, that'd be great. 'cause I want-
He will do everything he can to try to set everybody's minds at rest, and I did ask him
We
about
need to
that.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
right.
That'd be fine.
So, okay.
Be so many that they can't come down here this road.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that could be a situation, but I don't know that we don't want to be able to monitor that ourselves a little bit, wouldn't we?
Well, that lady wanted her voice heard, and we're
Yeah.
setting up an arrangement so that can take place, and that's good. Communicating,
So anyway, that's what we need. We'll get something with the media and let them know that, you know, remind everyone that he is gonna be here for the public's,
You may have to come down here and actually.
yeah, yeah, okay. Is there anything else then?
Yeah, you're talking about changes and so forth. What were the meetings in those courses? Gonna be at Kentucky Dam, the same, coincided with our court meeting?
Yes.
And Cheryl, you said something about changing those.
I lost my,
I've got
where
it.
did I lose
What if
it?
you're gonna be at Kentucky
No, I lost my
Dam?
calendar. I thought I had it in here, but it's gone. Oh, wait a minute, here it is.
Keiko.
Y'all, I don't have that.
Here's, Johnny's got it. Which ones, Johnny, which ones?
What, did one in October or September
Well, there
was
they
the
are.
only
I don't have my
one?
glasses on. I can't.
Down in there, so I can't help you.
There's two on there that coincides with our
Are they working on their bracket?
court meeting.
Yeah.
Who's working on brackets? That's a Thursday.
There's two of them that are on Tuesday.
June 10th.
He's probably got them right there on the,
Yeah, the two I marked
the
out.
two that, with the blue
Oh,
dots
here.
there, that's.
Oh, okay.
I thought, weren't those on Tuesday or something? He was,
What is that?
I marked two of them out where we were gonna have to go to Moorhead because of the meetings.
At another
Did I
day.
change it?
September 1
okay.
was one of them.
That's a haul. I know. I'd rather go to Kentucky Dam if you'll change the meeting.
Yes, that was one of them. It was September
Okay,
1.
September 1 is the first Tuesday, so we can move that, I'm sure. Now, if you want to do it now or you want to wait closer to that time.
What closer to that time?
I think
Well,
so.
I mean, his schedule, Bob's
Yeah.
got his.
What was the other one? I don't see. August 4?
I don't know.
So September and
When they lead
August.
you out there like
Let me
you're
look
talking
it up.
about.
I thought there was only one. Yeah, no, August 4.
You just rather not do it that way.
August 4.
And they push
August
you out
4
one
and
year.
September 1 are the ones we probably need to move. Can y'all study your calendars between now and the next meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
And we'll try to pick dates
Sure.
that we can work on then? Okay. All right. Somebody make me a copy of that so I've probably got one in there somewhere,
I'll
but,
say that later right there.
Okay.
Copy. I
Okay. all right.
It's hard, you push it.
Okay. Okay, if that's everything, then I would entertain.
One question.
Well, okay.
I don't know that it'll take any court action, but I just asked Russell, and I know those signs were given to the fiscal court. He's got one of those Purple Heart signs left. If it's okay with y'all, I would love to display that down at the sheriff's office, because I've got a lot of respect for veterans and whatnot. I would be honored to put that down there at the sheriff's office. I really would.
That's a.
Fine.
That's a very visible place, and I likewise, Justin gave me one to take to the north end of the county, and we displaying that at Calvert City Hall, but I took it to Jack Norwine, who is the daddy of Purple Hearts in Marshall County, and met with him yesterday and his wife Polly, and asked him where he would like to see that sign go, and he said, like it in front of my mailbox, but I better share it with the,
Yeah.
so we.
But that's fine, then.
That's where he
We don't
wanted
have to
place,
vote
so
on that. They just
that's where
tell
I
him he
stuck
can
it
have
to
it.
ground, but that,
You can take it.
Replace it, but I would be honored to display that down there, because I have a lot of respect for our veterans.
also,
Okay.
I get to do what I do because of them.
all right,
Very
we
good.
all do, Sheriff.
Very good.
We all do.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for staying around with us.
Move adjourned?
Do we, oh, wait.
Oh.
Get your calendars out.
Would you like to schedule another budget workshop between now and the next
Yeah.
meeting? I'm assuming between now and the next meeting.
Yeah. Not
Which is
next-
April the 7th.
Not next week, because I'm pretty much
I
out
can't next
this
week either.
Not next week.
I can't either.
Which leaves the 30th and 31st, if it's the following week, and then first weekend. Whoops.
31st? Anybody got a problem with the 31st? March 31st?
I don't think so.
What time?
I don't have.
What time would you,
Tuesday.
That's Tuesday. I don't have a thing.
You're good?
okay,
Or not?
what's good,
That
afternoon?
should be good.
1 o'clock? Or later?
No, not later.
I know if Bob work, is that gonna be?
Well, I mean, I'll just have to take off. I mean,
Just don't do it before lunch, you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's
I
set
think
it.
better for you, morning or afternoon?
well, afternoon's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
But I mean, if it was 3:30, it'd be fine with me.
How long we wanna look at this one?
I can do 1 o'clock.
That's up to y'all.
That'd be better. If you can do.
Let's do
that'd
1
be
o'clock.
better.
At least you can get a partial
You got
day in,
employees
Bob.
that are, that are,
Oh, I don't
have to
care.
be here. And
Let's just set it for
What
1
time is
o'clock
that?
on
At 1 o'clock in the morning?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
PM,
Tuesday, the
please.
March 31st.
March 31st,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock PM. To go as long as we need it to go.
Budget.
Emily, at that point in that meeting right there, where are we gonna be along, I mean, where
My
do you?
hopes are to have the whole thing presented to
Okay.
you. It
Okay.
may not be balanced, but.
Okay.
We're hoping. We're working for
Yeah.
balance, but, okay, then we've got that said, I would entertain a motion to
Already
adjourn.
made.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Better not. Motion passed.